Okay, so we're going to get into headstand. To begin with, you're going to make sure that you've done some drills for lengthening your hamstrings and for also engaging the hip flexors. Just a couple of quick things to help you out with lengthening the hamstrings and engaging hip flexors. So with your hip flexors, you could start with your feet apart and grab hold of a block like that. And you're going to place the block to the inside of the legs. You don't have to have the legs super wide apart, just a little bit. And the main thing here is to not lean back. So if you can, maybe grab a friend or use the wall or back of the sofa will do nicely. So from here, I'm going to just lift like over the block once, and then I'm going to switch it to the other side. I'm going to repeat, taking it all the way in and then all the way back out. So that's a nice little drill. Just remember to try not to lean back like this as you lift. Try to lean forward. So we're engaging the hip flexor muscles and the abdominals. If you feel like your leg is cramping up, stop, give it a little rub. Another great drill to do for engaging the hip flexors will be to come into a boat pose, but you want to try to get your knees as tightly into your tummy as you can. And then from here, we're going to reach the arms forwards. Good. And really reach, and then arms straight. Pull in. Good. And then extend out. Good. Pull in, tightly in, and extend out. Pull tightly in. Of course, you're using your abdominals, but also engaging those hip flexors to draw as close in as you possibly can. So this is also a really good little drill to get your hamstrings activated. We're going to start by just checking in how that feels. And we feel like we're nearly to the ground or almost to the ground. So notice what the sensation is at the back of the legs. Tuck your chin in and then come back up. We're going to wake up the sensory, give yourself some sensory stimulation by taking what we call a sensory shower. So you're going to rub your hands together, head all the way through. Head. As though you're in the shower, just brushing lightly your hands. And this is going to stimulate a part of your brain that controls the flexibility tone of the body. Good, all the muscles. So we're going to come right in here. So we're in the shower, having a nice little quick rub all the way through, getting down to the feet as well. Bend your knees to get down there. Good. And all the way up. Then check in with yourself. How does that feel? Do you go down any lower? Do you feel any more ease in your forward fold? Good. Good. And then a second little drill you're going to do is you're going to do an air hunger drill. Now, again, this helps to activate part of the brain stem that controls the posterior muscle tone. So you're going to need that for your forward folds. Why do you need forward folds to go into headstand? You're probably asking me. I'm going to tell you in 1 minute. Trust me. Okay, so we're going to go into our air hunger drill. So making sure, don't do these if you have any kind of high blood pressure, asthma issues, okay? So otherwise, feet are hip width apart, slightly wider. You're going to take a nice big breath in, big breath out. Don't breathe in, and as many deep squats as you can. Ready? Go. Whew. Right, stop. Catch your breath. Notice how that feels. Give yourself a few moments for the heart rate to calm. And then again, take another forward fold. See how that feels in the body. Good. Maybe finding that you're getting a little looser. Now, why do we need to have long hamstrings and hip flexor engagement if you're coming into a headstand? I'm going to show you. So why do you need to have hamstring engagement and hip flexor engagement? This is because when we come into a headstand, we want to get the hips on top of the shoulders. I'm going to show you what I mean. So you're going to come down, and when your hips come up, you're going to be walking your feet forward. Hamstrings nice and long. You're going to need to close this space here. Hip flexors engaged, yeah? So that's the reason for engaging hamstrings and hip flexors. Okay, now let's set up our headstand. So I often teach this without using a wall behind you, but if you want to have a wall, if you would feel safer to have the wall, please go right ahead, or put some cushions on the floor around you if you think you're going to fall out. One really good tip is to learn how to fall out of a headstand or any inversion. So maybe you simply start by practicing taking a little roly-poly forward roll, so that you practice this tucking your chin in and rounding as you roll forwards rather than landing flat on your back. Another great way to come out of an inversion could be a little cartwheel to the side. So for instance, if I think I'm going to fall out, I'm going to just rock over to one side. It's a little baby cartwheel. So you could try that out a few times, see how it feels. Even experiment with little cartwheels on your mat. Just getting used to that feeling of moving off to the side. It's a really good skill to have, learning how to fall. Now, let's set up your headstand. So coming down, bring your elbows on the floor. Good. And then you're going to open your hands like a book. And you're going to tuck your chin and place the top of your head onto the space where your thumbs just were. Make sure you know the right place to put your head. Try this. Take your hand, bringing it to your eyebrows, and then you can take it back. Where your middle finger lands, usually that's right at the top of your head. So that's the bit that you want. You don't want the top of your forehead on the ground. You really want the top of your head so that the back of your neck is nice and long. Okay, so we're bringing our head down onto the floor to the space where the thumbs were, tucking the chin, and then I'm going to place my hands right where my elbows were. Good. So without turning my head, just using my eyes, I can see all of my fingers. So the elbows, rather than rocking out to the side, I'm going to want to squeeze them inwards. Good. I tuck my toes under, lift up, and this is where those long hammies are helpful. We're going to walk forward as far as you can. The more I walk forward, the more I'm bringing my bum towards being on top of my shoulders. If I get stuck and my bum is still pretty low, I could take a block and bring it in so that I can step up on the block and push my hips over my shoulders. Now from here, with or without the block, I'm going to bring one knee as high as I can, engaging those hip flexors, onto my left arm or my other arm, squeezing inwards. And then I'm going to bring the other knee in. Right now, I'm in a headstand because my feet are off the ground. Slowly, I'm going to bring my heels to my bottom. You might notice that my bum is starting to lift up a little bit more over the shoulders, rounding the upper back, and then very slowly start to reach one leg up at a time and then the other. Make sure in your headstand that you're not letting your elbows rock out, they're staying in. And as you go up, the elbows don't gap out, they stay squeezing inwards, and your toes are strong, engaged, bum squeezing to lift up to the sky. And then lower gently down, just in the same way that you went up, and take child's pose to give your neck a little rest. Keep remembering in your headstand to push the ground away. As the elbows wrap inwards, you're pushing the ground away so you're not creating pressure through the cervical spine. Yeah. Now, another way to go into headstand is going to be your basket hold. So this is another commonly used hold. So the hands are in basket, and we're going to place the head down, again, the top of the head, and the hands are just cradling. So try not to look forward to rest the head in the hands, because if you do, you're kind of crunching your neck. Good. Again, elbows squeezing inwards. This time, we bring one knee in and then bring the other knee in. From here, you could start to straighten up very slowly. Remember that momentum is not the friend of balance. And come back down and take child's pose. Head. Now, one of my favorite ways to go into a headstand is from straddle. Wide leg straddle forward fold. So you are going to come into your wide leg straddle forward fold. and turn the toes slightly inwards. From here, shift your bum back. So from the side, rather than rounding through the back, you're going to send your bum back. And this will allow your pelvis to tilt so that your head can drop down a little lower. If you want to, you could open the legs out a little wider so that your head reaches the floor. Head. From here, hands go back and you lift up onto the tiptoes. And as you keep your spine rounded, it's almost automatic for the legs to start to float up. As you come into your straddle headstand, you can keep the legs apart or bring them together. Totally up to you. Before you come and slowly lower back down. Let me know in the comments, give me some feedback. Let me know how this goes for you. Feel free to pause it at any time, replay, and reach out and ask me any questions.